Good morning, everybody. Confederation of Educational Institutions of India is the leading not-for-profit confederation in the national education space with a mission to support communities, industries, and governments through the promotion of global knowledge, learning, research, education, and training initiatives. This is Dr. Sandeep Anantanarayanan. I'm the co-chair for CEI's Special Project Committee, bringing you this edition of CEI's IVY Dialogues of Hope Talk Series. CEI's IVY Talk Series represents the inspirational, visionary, and youth-oriented conversations that are defining today's India. In this milieu, the current theme for the CEI Talk Series is Dialogues of Hope, conversations with India's leading educational leaders on how should India's youth address their educational and knowledge needs in today's scenario. With us today is Dr. Shalini Advani. She is the School Director for Pathways School, Noida. Dr. Advani has been the principal of the British School, New Delhi, and Director Education of Learn today. Her wide experience in setting up and heading schools includes creating effective learning environments, school management systems, staffing, and curriculum development with the IB and GCSE curriculum, as well as CBSE schools. She has conducted numerous teacher training programs on how children learn, collaborative teaching, and whole school development. Our ideal school is one where every child, teacher, the support staff members are encouraged to develop and grow. Dr. Advani, thanks for joining us today. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
I'll quickly go on to our first question. With the present pandemic, which is the main question everybody has, with the present pandemic, students across the globe are locked down in their homes. Please advise on how parents should talk to children about COVID-19, the uncertainties and fears. What would be your suggestions on that? How should parents talk to their children about COVID-19?
Well, first of all, of course, I must say that children cover a wide span of ages. So how you would talk to a 5 or a 6-year-old is very different to how you would talk to a 14-year-old. The 14-year-old has a fairly good idea about the technicalities of COVID-19. They probably have a good idea of statistics of death and statistics of spread that a 5 or a 6-year-old does not have. In all cases, I think one has to talk obviously about the disease and what is happening, but in a limited way. And the most important thing is to give it a time frame. For children, sometimes they lose that sense of time. And the fact that this is a temporary time, it will pass, is one of the most important messages to give. Secondly, of course, that just because we're bombarded with so many statistics, it is important to know that 85%, 90% of people recover with nothing more than a serious flu. So take away some of the fear element and treat it like a matter-of-fact aspect. The other thing is, don't, as parents, spend a lot of time on the news yourselves. Obviously, it's important to keep up to date, but it can be extremely dispiriting when parents look worried and concerned every time you look at the news.
Very true. I think that's very well said, to keep away from all the news. Overloading of information is also an issue that is there right now. So, at home, when parents are with children 24/7, there's always this question of how do we help them develop discipline and a healthy routine, and how do they maintain this discipline and healthy routine? Children today are not going to just follow everything that a parent says. So what would be your suggestion to parents on some do's and don'ts on making their children follow discipline and a healthy routine?
Well, first of all, I always believe that the best form of discipline is based on a conversation or based on a sort of essential agreement, which you can do with children starting at 7 or 8-year-old even. I think it's important to establish that this is not vacation time. This is not the summer holiday. That there is a need for a routine, and establish what that routine should be like. So get up and get dressed, have a bath. If you are in a school which is doing online learning, then don't start that in your night clothes. You need to get ready just as if you are going to school. I would say keep a schedule of about 4 hours of solid learning. Morning should be learning time. In the afternoon, give them some flexibility. because you can't pretend that they're going to school either. And children need some time to connect with friends and to connect with other people. I have a great respect for the importance of boredom. You know, as a generation, we're always rushing our children from one activity to another. But actually, boredom is a great time for developing creativity. So let them find their own paths for a little bit of it. And in the early evening, get into an online exercise routine. Do it with your children. There are so many wonderful videos online for action and activity and dance and yoga and all of those sorts of things. Do a little bit of that. And finally, get your children involved with the way that you are living your life. Quite likely, you don't have any domestic support. So you're cooking and cleaning and washing dishes. Get your children into that. That's a great aspect of family bonding and building as well.
Excellent. I think if only this boredom concept could be applied to all working people also, that would be so wonderful. Time away for creativity and innovation. Well said, Dr. Advani. So my next query, relates to children who are in 12th, who are, who've given their exams, or children who are right now going into 12th. Now, they have a lot of, what should I say, anxiety with respect to how their future is going to work out, how their future education is going to be. So what would you tell educators, to help these students move forward? What should educators do to help these students move forward?
Well, this is an interesting and it's an important point. We've been talking endlessly about the changes that 21st century education and the 21st century world of work is going to bring, and how it's going to bring about changes in how we live and what we value. COVID-19 has, in fact, fast forwarded some of that. Because all the things that we talk about, that the world is going to change, is suddenly happened, and it's there at our doorstep. First of all, the competencies that we know that create effective workers of the world are not so much specializations and certainly not so much marks. It is mindsets. So, the competencies of embracing change, of being a sort of agile thinker, of having adaptability and the capacity to develop new things in new situations. These are all very much 21st century skills. And oddly enough, this time, this enforced lockdown time, has given the time for that. So I would really urge young people that this is the time to find something around what you're really interested in. You will never in your life, probably again, get a time like this where you can pursue an interest, and interests and hobbies become passions, and as we know, passions become careers. And that is the flexibility of the world today. This could be your opportunity of finding that. Forget the marks. Universities are going to make their decisions, and they are developing the flexibility too of dealing with this. Embrace this time and find something special that you can do.
Excellent. I would hope that children follow each word that you are saying. Uh, Now, I actually wanted to also know, Pathway School Noida has been a benchmark on various facets of education. COVID-19 is new to them also. So, what broadly has Pathway School Noida done to address the COVID-19 issue? What have you done broadly over various genres, over for school teachers, for students, for parents? What has Pathway School Noida done?
So we have, of course, moved school online. And I mean all of school, not just individual academic subjects. And we have given a structure of 4 hours at least of engaged time. What I want to say is that technology has, of course, supported that. But what is really important, and that has been the thrust of how we have done it, is that human engagement is really important for learning. And so when you have learning online, what you have to look for is collaboration tools. And so, what we have used really is not only things that are resources like Khan Academy and all of those things, which one does anyway, but a much bigger emphasis on using tools like Google Docs, where children are collaboratively writing, or Google Slides, or Flipgrid, or you know, many, many others, Padlets. They've been composing music with music software. We've had online dance classes. We've started each day with mindfulness and meditation online. So each of these things has brought the community together. We've now begun to experiment with having parents come in as guest teachers, and that's been wonderful to have. We're
Excellent.
looking at having activities for parents as well, and we're about to start those. It's been interesting for the younger children, where we realize that learning has to be as part of the family. If you have
True.
a child in nursery or KG, then we've had parents very involved in that whole learning process,
Right.
online with their children, participating with them.
Right. Excellent. Dr. Advani, I think the conversation has been extremely fruitful in giving so many nuggets of information that students can take from here. Thank you so much for joining us in this Dialogues of Hope conversation. I hope to meet you again very soon and have you back in our Dialogues of Hope conversation series. Thank you, Dr. Advani. Bye-bye.
Thank you.